The first time I knew I wasn't a man was when I was in third grade and I had a teacher named Miss Fisher, and we were playing around the classroom. I was playing with my friends, laughing, joking around, and we were sort of doing these weird positions on our chairs, trying to see who could top off the next person with the craziest move. And it was my turn, and we had these green metal chairs. So I got up and I decided to turn sideways and hop on top of this metal hard chair. And the hard metal on the chair stabbed me so hard that I was beginning to bleed. All the boys continued laughing and playing around, and the girls too. I didn't want to tell anyone that I might have hurt myself and ruined all the fun. So I went to Miss Fisher and whispered if I could go to the nurse. I secretly left the room with my pass. When I got to the nurse, she insisted on calling my mother from work, even though I explained that the bleeding just came from me forcibly hopping on top of the chair, and that all I wanted was a Band-Aid. My mom rushed to the school, drove me home early, and told me that she and the nurse thought I had started my period. I thought, seriously? I was so mad, and I felt like no one listened to me. I felt like my mom was trying to make me grow up too fast. I didn't want to grow up just yet and think about being a woman. It was too embarrassing and uncomfortable. There were so many kids in my class who hadn't started theirs yet. I didn't want to start mine.
I first knew I wasn't a man in preschool. Kellen and his friends started chasing me around the yard and teasing me. I ran, upset, to a teacher to ask for help, and she told me that it was just what boys do, and that I should just play along. Last year, I was finally diagnosed with endometriosis after years of complaining about pain. I was told for years that I was overreacting. According to a survey done in 2017, it takes an average of 7.5 years to get diagnosed with endometriosis, despite women complaining of pain to their doctors.
I first knew I wasn't a man when I was buying new clothes for school in second grade, and I had to measure my shorts to make sure they reached my fingertips. The last time I realized I wasn't a man was the time on the train when I saw an ad for unplanned pregnancy. It's only a picture of a girl sitting alone. It takes two to get pregnant, but in the end, it's only one person's predicament. What will she do? Not what will they do? Because it's only ever her fault.
I first knew I wasn't a man when I was playing Power Rangers with my best friend, and he kept insisting that I had to be the pink Power Ranger, but I wanted to be the red. I last knew I wasn't a man when a man asked me how my day was on the train, and I made the mistake of giving him a smile. He would not stop harassing me, and when I didn't engage further, I was a bitch. He kept yelling at me until I was forced to get off the train.
I personally think about Mason Gee and his obsession with me. How he and the other boys in my 4th grade class tried to trap me in the tube slide so that we could kiss at recess, but I ran too fast for them. How all his notes to me were considered cute, but I also saw him drawing guns in the margins of my math textbook, which made my hands clammy. The last time I realized I was not a man was in 7-Eleven at 10:30 p.m. on a Monday night, buying nacho cheese Doritos when I realized I was the only woman in the store. I speed walked the 2 blocks home because I was afraid they'd know I lived in my studio alone, since I only bought one bag.
I first knew I wasn't a man when I couldn't pay attention in class because of the hair on my arms. A boy sat next to me, flirted with me by pointing out how long it was. I always tried to cover it even when the weather became hot. It led me to shaving my arms when I was 9 years old to escape the embarrassment. I knew I wasn't a man when, in 5th grade, it was time to start shaving my legs. I resisted, but finally agreed. I sat in my new dress at the Christmas party. During the muffled chatter, I stared down at my nude legs. They looked otherworldly to me. I sat there and acquainted myself with them. This is what you're gonna look like now.
I first knew I wasn't a man in first grade. I'd gone to sit down at my table group, but Brendan W. pulled my chair out from under me. I landed on the cold tile, on my ass, and he laughed. He laughed and pointed and slapped his knee, and I cried. I cried and yelled and asked him why. I thought my reaction was a valid response to the pain, to the embarrassment I was feeling, but I was told my behaviors extremely unladylike. My behavior card was moved from green to yellow that day, the only time it was ever moved. I know I'm not a man every time I get dressed for the scorching summer heat. Rather than wearing what I want, I wear what I think is safe. Shoulders are okay. Clavicle is pushing it. There's a grace period of 2 inches above the knee. Skirts? Don't even think about it. I wore a tank top once that, when I lifted my arms, showed part of my belly button. I brought a sweater, just in case.